Hello, it's Geeks Assembled. It's cast time. It's me and
Oh,
Stephen this Sunday night and Sunday afternoon over there. And today we are sort of honouring by doing a double cast today of um,
yeah.
of one of the most famous actors in the world who's no longer with us, um, Archibald Leach,
Uh-huh.
Archie Leach. uh, who eventually changed his name to Cary Grant.
Yep.
So yeah, reviewing the mini series from late last year, just called Archie, four-part TV series, and then in another cast we'll be doing one of the finest movies of Alfred Hitchcock's career,
Hmm.
Northwest, starring Mr. Grant. So we're going to start off with the TV drama, um, telling the story of the young Cary growing up in Bristol in England, uh, and then coming across to America and finding fame and fortune. Um, this miniseries is based on Diane Cannon's book, My Life with Cary Grant.
Yep.
Um, she's executive producer along with his daughter.
And her daughter.
Yeah, her daughter. Yeah, her daughter. Jennifer, isn't it? Jennifer Grant, is it?
Yeah,
Jennifer.
Jennifer Grant.
So those two are exec producers on this. So they
Yes.
must give it a thumbs up to give the go ahead with it. So we'll go over to Susan for her opening thoughts on Archie.
All right. Well, I didn't know anything about Cary Grant until I watched this. I mean, I'm from Bozeman, Montana, and we had an affection for one of our city people, Gary Cooper. But
Hmm.
this is the Ar- Archie Leach into Cary Grant was, it was amazing. And, the name Leach is so British. There was this show called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous over here that was narrated and you know cut together by a fellow named Robin Leach. And Leach was, that's a good, even though he was born in Bristol or whatever, he was pretty posh mentally. He was able
Hmm.
to be, in his mind, a different sort of person than what he was finding with his father and his mother. And yeah, so it was really I mean, he had a lot of what I hear about people's childhood in the UK is that it was a sad, lonely, angst-filled time with nothing but tragedy, personal and familial, and this is no exception. I mean, his mother ended up in a mental institution, which he didn't even know. I mean, he was told that she had died, and so he kind of created a new life for himself with no mother. No mother, no father. Kind of walled off his life from those around, and eventually in this miniseries, you get around to him coming back into contact with both of them, and the dysfunction that is kind of unleashed. And he's being guided in some psychological experimentation by one of the folks who does uh, psychedelic therapy with LSD in the
Hmm.
60s. and that's really something. The and how he ends up treating Diane Cannon, and how, all these sort of, you know where where you can see how a different kind of relationship would open up a different way in terms of, you know discovery and stuff. He's pretty buttoned down. He's got a lot of strong, strong sort of old-fashioned notions, and he wanders through his life with those. And yeah, so but it's fun. Jason Isaacs played Cary Grant, and played Archie Leach for about a minute, and then he turns into Cary Grant. And um you know that was just a brilliant, brilliant performance. And
It,
I think Lee is going to tell you more about that performance because of what we were talking about right before this podcast started. So,
I mean,
without further ado, what do you think about Jason Isaacs as Cary Grant?
well, as I said before we started, I totally forgot it was Jason Isaacs. His the look, the voice, everything about him. He became Cary Grant,
Mm-hmm,
and I totally say I was just watching it, thinking I was watching Cary Grant.
mm-hmm,
Um, it was just an amazing performance, and if this doesn't get any awards, or Jason Isaacs doesn't get award, there's no justice in the world, because he put his heart and soul into this.
mm-hmm,
He became the man, and it was good to see. As I mentioned to Susan before we started, every actor in this was British.
mm-hmm.
Um, so you had Doris Day played by a British actress. You had Diane Cannon played by a British actress. Well, Alfred Hitchcock played by a British actor. Well, Alfred Hitchcock was British,
Was
of course.
British. He was.
Yeah. But every single one was a British actor, and it was but an amazing four-part um, drama. Okay, just say at the beginning of it, this is a true story, but some characters have
Uh-huh.
been created out of amalgamation of other characters and
Uh-huh.
stuff like that. That's what these dramas do these days.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Because you'd rather tell an interesting,
mm,
uh, powerful story rather than tell three sort of kind of cool stories. You really want to squish people together and make
mm.
things as as gripping as possible.
I mean, his. I mentioned the voice. I mean, Cary Grant's voice was very distinctive in the movies, and that was because he was told to change his voice
Mm-hmm.
because of his Bristol accent would be no good in America.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I was watching that, I was thinking, did he put that voice on for the rest of his life? Because you wouldn't lose that Bristol accent. He must have had that false accent, using that false accent all his life.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, he'd have got Americanized, wouldn't it, as he went along? Because he lived in America for most of his life after leaving England.
Yeah.
Uh, but just and the way he was going through his marriages, was it 4 or 5 times married, divorced, and you saw in the performance what Jason Isaac did, and the way Cary Grant did things. Like he was really particular in certain things, and got me wondering if before all this came out, that he might have been suffer a bit of OCD, and
Oh.
you know, things had to be a certain way. You know, like the coaster under the drinks, and
Well,
it has
that's
to.
what I mean. He was just an old-fashioned guy with
But
old-fashioned notions like
it also
that.
it could come down to a bit of OCD. You never know.
Yeah, all right.
Because there's, you know, you can take it
But
so far.
but but they never tell you what the psychedelic therapy is for.
No,
I mean, it could have been profound depression or slight schizophrenia. I mean, they're especially since he had visions and then he had small strokes.
yeah.
And if those visions cause those small strokes, but go on.
Well, the strokes killed him in the end, didn't they? On the one of the nights he was doing an evening with Cary Grant, in 1986. Um, but it's a thing to see as well. I mean, I always knew he gave up acting after doing a movie called Father Goose, which was mentioned in the drama. That was his last movie,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't make another movie after that. Um, and you know, I often wonder why did you? And because he was bringing up his daughter, and he gave all that up for family life.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bit of dedication there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was a shame they skipped. It was slightly mentioned, but they skipped over it really quickly. His relationship with Randolph Scott,
Mm-hmm.
because he lived with him for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where, you know, Diane Cannon asks him, "Are you gay?" And he just turns around and says, "I've loved many people." Um, and it is in other biographies stated that they did have a relationship, those two,
Oh,
Randolph
okay.
Scott and Cary Grant.
Again,
But
I didn't know anything about him when I went into this, so
yeah,
I'd assumed that was that they were, that there was just a lot of confusion about his sexuality. But I guess if he was really gay, then that's cool too. Or bi,
he never came out and said things like that. But it has been stated, you know, other people have seen this happen, that happened. Those two living together for 12 years. I mean, they remained friends for the rest of their lives until they both died.
sure.
But it was never sort of brought up because it makes you wonder maybe this is why he was always marrying, just to sort of push that side of his life at the side.
Huh.
Because in Hollywood in them days, you couldn't be a leading man and be gay.
No, Rock Hudson hit
Yeah,
it.
you'd have to get married, or every time you go on a ceremony evening or whatever, or a premiere, you'd have to hire a model on your arm or something
Uh-huh.
like that, just to cover up these things. And it just makes you think, yeah, maybe there is some truth in that. But
But that wasn't part of Diane Cannon's book either,
no,
probably.
it was it was in another book, another biography.
I bet it was.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing was that I mean they didn't talk about some of his other spouses either.
There was,
They didn't talk about Virginia Cheryl,
yeah,
the one he married in Bristol. They didn't talk about Barbara Hutton, the woman that he married in while he was serving in the army or whatever. And
yeah.
then Betsy Drake, his mother mentioned Betsy Drake a bunch, just kind of rubbing Diane Cannon's nose in it. I mean, what a passive aggressive thing. Betsy,
Yeah,
Betsy. Oh my God, that was just
you
like.
call him a Betsy.
And then at the end, when Jennifer needs a middle name, oh, how about Betsy? Oh my God. And then Diane Cannon, and then, but then they did talk about Barbara Harris because
Mhm.
she is obviously part of the the book.
Yeah, well, she's
And
his last.
she helped him raise Jennifer too.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a. I mean, I didn't know what going into this. I didn't know if I would like this or not. Um, because sometimes you watch these sort of biographical documentaries, and it sort of ruins your way of thinking about these people. Because you sometimes you see these people, you put them on a pedestal, don't you, and think that's how I like to remember them and see them.
Yeah.
Uh, and these were going, into his problems and sort of controlling.
Oh my God.
I mean, the way what soon as Jennifer was born, he got rid of Diane Cannon's dog.
I know.
It was never said how he got rid of it.
No, it didn't.
No. So rather controlling.
Oh.
Um, but maybe that was just the power of these Hollywood actors in the day.
Uh-huh.
Um, I tell you what, I didn't like though. It happened a couple of times where there was like a montage of things going on screen, and where they've put a bit of music to it, and it was modern music. It was a modern song,
Oh.
and I'm thinking, no, if you're doing a period thing where it's set in the '60s or set in the '80s, have that sort of music. You don't have something from now.
Oh.
So when they were doing like the circus routine, and I'm thinking, I've heard this song before. It's a fairly new song. That didn't really gel with the what was going on in the.
Yeah.
So anything you want to say for Archie?
Well, Harriet Walter, as someone who's watched her through lots of other things, but including Doctor Who, she is amazing in this. I mean, she dragged at your heartstrings. She pulled at your comfort zones. Oh
Hmm.
man, she was a good she and sh the way that she showed how deeply she could stay connected even through pain and suffering. I mean, that's just amazing. So I just think I really do really like Harriet Walter as an actress.
Hmm.
I mean, just one of the gems from British uh thespianism. So I just think that I mean, that was amazing. And then the other thing that was amazing was that kid Dayton Anderson who played little Archie.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, he was so perfectly precious, precocious, and sweet. I just
Yeah,
love that kid.
I mean, there is some great actors in here. You've got Ian McNeice as Alfred Hitchcock.
Uh-huh.
He's a very well-known British actor. Um, Jason Watkins as Stanley Fox.
Uh-huh.
His agent. I mean, everybody I think knows Jason Watkins. He's been in loads of things.
Uh-huh.
You, you got who's the other one? I've lost it. Where is it? Um, Naomi Cusack as Alma, Hitch's wife. She's a very well-known British actress. Um, then you've got the supporting cast. You've got Grace Kelly, Mae West, Audrey Hepburn, George Burns, Doris Day. All those played by brilliant actors.
Yeah.
And I like the way they recreated some scenes from the movies.
Yeah,
Especially,
that was really incredible, especially the one in North by Northwest.
yeah, get covered in crop dust. But yeah, but it's
We will totally talk about that scene with newfound affection when we
Yeah,
get over to the next podcast that we're doing
yeah.
this weekend for
But
sure.
for sure, I mean, I've always liked Cary Grant anyway because his movies do stand out, and do stand the test of time. Um, e- Even if he's doing comedy, drama, suspense. I mean, if you haven't seen his last movie, Father Goose, it's a superb movie. Um, but the way the scenes were done for North by Northwest, you'd never guess that's how it was done in the movie. But now sit back on that, you think, oh yeah. but but it's totally, for me, this is totally Jason Isaacs'
I
big.
know you're right. He did completely subsume, disappear into the role.
He became Cary Grant.
He was he was unrecognizable as the actor,
Mm,
and there just wasn't any time at any time when his character was even slightly uh he didn't hit any wrong notes at all. He was just 100%
mm. I
uh
mean, he's a
Mr.
well-known.
Grant.
He's been in many, many things, be it Harry Potter, Star Trek, um, Peter Pan. He played a brilliant Captain Hook in one of the Peter Pan movies. He's done loads of things, but this, for me, I think is his crowning glory up to
Mhm,
now. Up to now.
mhm.
I mean, it's okay playing fictional characters, but
But
to
when you
play
nail, but when you nail somebody who we all are so
factual,
aware of,
yeah, a factual person, yeah.
and somebody who we've seen, like, not just this sort of side character actor from the mid 50s. This is somebody who is like reigning on screen.
Yeah, he was a leading man for many, many years, a big
Mhm.
Hollywood star. So, anything else you'd like to say about Archie?
Um, yeah, it was it went by really fast. It was 4 episodes long, four
Yeah.
episodes of some of the most because it was um mostly done by the British. It had incredibly awkward points where it would slow down and it would knock you in the head a little bit, make you want to cry a lot, and you know it was really fantastic. And then the other part was, you know, the stuff that you find out about Cary Grant was that it was, priceless. I mean, like, this stuff was so good.
Mm. I mean, I enjoyed the last episode where the credits was rolling, and
Uh-huh.
they showed you the real photographs of all the actors. Cary Grant played by Jason Isaacs, but it was a photo of Cary Grant, and a photo of Diane Cannon, and
Uh-huh.
I like that little touch at the end.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
The-
and the two uh you know Archibald Leach, born 1904, died 1986,
1982. Yeah.
and then Cary Grant, born 1932, died 1986.
Mm.
I mean, they had sort of him parsed out as two different people, which
Which he
was
was.
interesting.
He was. It was because, as he said, Cary Grant was a character.
Yeah,
That wasn't him. His name was Archie.
yeah,
So he'd been playing a character for the rest of his life. This is
yeah.
why I said I wonder if he put that accent on. all the time.
or if he began to think in that accent.
And he's just doing it naturally.
Yeah.
It must have been
I
hard
mean,
for him.
I know that my friends who went to I have friends who lived in the UK and lived in New Zealand and lived in Australia, and their accent shifted to the bright sort of sunny sound the of those accents, and you know kind of shuffed off their Montana or their, yeah, basically all the people that I'm talking about came from Montana, and they would shuff off that Montana, swallowing the words and everything, and become much more bright and sonorous sounds from those places. And you just end up I mean, if you live there long enough, you just end up changing. I mean, I sometimes put on an accent of Boston because I live here, but I do still swallow my all my words, so I do still sound very Montanan.
Mm.
And that's just the way my voice is. If I had to change that and I had to sound authentically somewhere else, I just don't know how I'd do that. And that was the creative work of Archibald Leach, is that he was able to create this other persona. Yeah, I don't know, Lee. That's a really good question. Was it a put on, or was it did it become him? I
I'm
don't
just
know.
looking at the production thing for it. Um, it was filmed in Liverpool,
Uh-huh.
Manchester, and Cheshire. So it
Uh-huh.
was nowhere near Bristol.
Huh.
But I did like the mention. I knew this as a fact, but I did like that it was included in this that he was offered the role of James Bond,
Mm-hmm.
and he turned it down because they wanted a full film contract.
Mm-hmm.
I can't play a character for four movies. Just say it's Doctor No No. Yeah, so he was offered the role before.
Yeah, that was really amazing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anything else about Archie, the man who became Cary Grant?
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. The- yeah. It's really, really awesome. No, I've pretty much said everything, other than the fact that, this may even eventually necessitate a rewatch because of the beauty of it. I didn't have any trouble with the soundtrack, unlike Lee here. I enjoyed
Mm.
the musical stings and things that were thrown in there, because
Yeah.
I know that it was trying to focus on an ambiance, an atmosphere, and if they couldn't find the right song out of that era, you know, I just think that they did a great job with that. But that's just that's just because I have to disagree with Lee about something.
Well,
Well, sorry about that, and
typical.
typical.
Uh, so what? Let's go to final say score then, shall we? What would you give Archie to 10?
I'd give him. Let's see. I would give him 10 dirty Jennifer nappies out of 10. He would, the fact that he gave up his career just to be a stay-at-home dad, that was awfully sweet. Even though he like tried to control her at that point from then on, but like interesting.
Mm.
And I just think that they didn't make that too sappy and too sweet, but it was definitely sweet. That was that was one of those moments. So yeah, that's my and you. What about you?
I would give this 9.5 bags of fish and chips.
Of course.
He loved his fish and chips and his picnic bars,
Mm-hmm.
what he imported from England.
Mm-hmm. Didn't know what they were. I had to Google that.
You can't get them in America. Yeah, 9.5. The only half point is the two pieces of music. What
The soundtrack.
you don't, for me, you don't use a modern piece of music for something what's set in the 60s or whatever. It just didn't gel for me, that bit. But apart from that, I loved every other moment of it. It was a brilliant watch.
I
I
did
wish
too.
they do. I wish they'd do more of these about the Hollywood legends.
Yeah, me too.
Just think what you could do with Errol Flynn
Oh my gosh.
and what he got through.
I know.
So that is our little review of Archie, the TV miniseries. It's freely available on streaming, so you can sit down and watch it. And then when you have done, guys out there, guys and gals, message us. Let us know what you thought of it.
Yeah. It's on
Um,
BritBox in the Americas. It's on BritBox.
it's on ITVX over here and
Mm-hmm.
other sites. Um, yeah, messages as well if you'd like to join us. 18 plus, of course. You've got to have a working camera and microphone on the device you use. Just contact us via a message. We're on all the social media platforms, so you can message us at any time on any of them. And if you are subscribing to our YouTube channel, please remember to press the bell notification button and you'll get notified every time we put a video up. Exactly, Susan. And if you like,
Sorry about that.
if you like,
Was
you like to follow us on X or you like to follow us, join our group on Facebook, you're more than welcome to. So I think that's our little review over and done with.
Yep.
Anything else you want to say before you choke again?
Very funny. Oh my gosh.
Did we go down the wrong way? But yeah, so until next time, please be safe.